Peace. I'm your brother Crumb, and you are now watching Crumb TV.
Brother Red Pill representing Know the Ledge, one half of the Twin Pillars. I am here rocking with Crumb TV.
No, you are watching Crumb TV.
You can find me on Crumb TV.
You can catch me on Crumb TV.
This is Chief Kalanago here at Crumb TV.
I am Joy Allen of the Memoirs of a Karmic Dynasty in the Crumb TV studio.
Honored to be on your program, brother.
Peace.
Peace.
Crumb TV.
Peace and love, good brother. How are you?
What's good? Can you hear me?
All is well. You sound nice in your mic.
Yeah, hold on here. Let me. All right. Just making sure. Okay. Yeah, let me turn up the volume here. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're low, but I can hear you.
Okay. Well, with that said, of course, it is I, your humble brother Crumb. Thank you for all the listening audience for tapping in. You could have been anywhere, but you are here with us, and we are humble and grateful to have you. You already know what it is, family. This video is called New York and Philly Black Plague. It was supposed to be something to that effect, but nonetheless, let me try to start this thing off the right way. Family, as you can see, the God 720 is in the building. I'm not sure if but I wanted to
We're good. Keep going.
Okay, yeah. I want to put some respect on his name. Family, good brother, can you tell the family who you are and where we can find you at?
Oh, y'all know who I is. Yeah, this the guy 720 in the motherfucker, man. I guess I'm not supposed to be talking like that. We're doing the Kicked Out of Heaven prestigious scholar right now. So the name is Keenan Booker. You know, I had to put that name on the material, just like I put it on the encyclopedia on the alchemy of women, because I didn't want to violate authentic information with alias names. Okay. Yeah, let's, I have respect, and I operate within the realm of respect. And that's why we're presenting this whole information on the plague today, and the rats of New York, and the zombies in Philly. And it's actually a national problem, but these are two hotbeds as sources of the problem. There's a lot of rats in Chicago. There's a lot of zombies in the whole, what was that, Oregon, where they legalized all the dope. They legalized all the levels of drugs out there. You know what I'm saying? So if you are going to be prepared for your future, I'm the only one you can come and see. If you want to talk about the thoroughness of it, because what the medieval times is actually an expose of a time period where humans were psychologically at their lowest.
Well, before we get into the content, I want to talk about Keenan Booker just a little bit more. Established, prestigious author. You have a new book, a 2-set volume, actually. Just mention that before we get started, because I want to put some respect on your work.
Oh, okay. He's referencing the encyclopedia on the alchemy of women, okay, which will be released for the public. The volume 2 is September 4th, and then volume 1 will be on September 29th. Okay. And that's when it will be fully available. But as of right now, I have the copies that you could purchase directly from me at thewomansalchemy.com. Okay. And before you get to it, I suggest and I prefer that you go ahead and educate yourself with the Kicked Out of Heaven and the medieval, specifically the witchcraft, which I think this is something that me and Crumb also have coming up here in a minute. We're going to go into the details of the witchery and the familiar and the witch burnings, and we're going to show you the truth on that side of things too. But we need to go into the plague. Let me cut that on real quick. We need to go into the plague right now because they got the COVID around the corner. They're trying to bring it back.
Yep.
Yeah, the COVID covert. The Novid, the whatever the fuck.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right, the co-video, whatever the fuck they got going. But it's supposedly on the news a lot, and they're trying to act like they're about to bring back mask mandates and things of that nature, even though Texas just put in a law that it is now illegal for mask mandates. And it is now illegal for stores to be shut down based upon COVID. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Put some respect on his name, family. That's the God 720. The real name, the official, authentic, is Keenan Booker. Very powerful name. We'll get into that a little bit later. With that said, what I wanted to do real quick was put some respect on the listening audience. Now, we usually do the first responders, but within the first 5 minutes, there are more than 60 first responders. So for the sake of time, we'll just do the first three and then we'll jump right into it. Number one, and the first three, we call that the perfect trifecta. Number one of the perfect trifecta is Cosmic Cutie. She says, howdy, Earthlings. That is very funny. It's very clever. It's very, Space Cowboys. Your family, if you don't know what a Space Cowboy is, y'all might want to look that up. Number two in the building of this perfect trifecta, OG. He says, Shalom, young prince. We in here. Let's go. And it's interesting because this is my OG right here. And I was gonna call him yesterday, and I didn't. And I was thinking about him a lot, and he manifested. I manifested him. So I'm gonna call you after this live, OG. I got some really interesting things I want to run by you. Just kind of pick your brain. That's what he's here for. He's the elder. They're here for wise counsel. Number three in the building of this perfect trifecta, C Murder 22. He says, we here for the crumbs. It's only going to be crumbs, family. If you want the full thing, you got to go to his book.
Kickedoutofheaven.com.
An hour and a half, maybe two. But the book is going to give you, you can read 1,000 books one time, or you can read one book 1,000 times. Family, this is the one book 1,000 times scenario. So that's where the full thing is. This is the crumbs. That's where the dinner is at.
Yeah, the Thanksgiving, my nigga. Kickedoutofheaven.com. Yeah, man. No, I'm glad you put it like that, because it's time to stop playing. When we're watching videos, it's one ear and out the other. When you read a book, it's tattooed on your mind. So that's what we need to do, especially with information like this, because it is the details and the description of the environment we live in. We didn't know. So let's not go into all of the Moorish thing and I'm an Indian background. Let's just go off of the plain status. We came off a boat, right? So if we came off a boat and we were taught English and given English names and then thrown on cobblestone roads, we're being put inside their dimension. You see, a dimension that they already drafted over from Europe, and we don't know what we're living in right now. So yeah, that's just the truth behind it. We don't know what we're living in. We need to know what the definitions of a lot of these words are, and how to correspond and how to survive inside this dimension without a lot of anger built up in our chest and a lot of stress on the mind on the do's and the don'ts, in this matrix system that we're living in. This is literally it. Where you at?
Absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I'm right here. I just got some stuff in the background I'm trying to pull up. I wanted to start by let me show my face. Where am I at? That's a great question.
Yeah, come on.
All right, so here we go. So we wanted to be a little more descriptive, but I had forgot the total title of this video to let you guys know what we're dealing with. But when we say Black Plague, we are dealing with the hold on 2 seconds. Okay, so now the whole thing with the plague, and before I get the God 720 to go in, I wanted to ask the listening audience, family, do you remember where the plague, well, not where, but because that was Europe, but how the plague got bad? There's a lot of Some people say it was the Yehudi people who did it. Some people say it was the Mongols. But generally speaking, the consensus is that the plague spread through one particular thing. I want to say it without spilling the beans, but it's really no need because the guy 720 already said it, and Iris Ann X, who's probably one of the top master students, has already spilled the beans. It started through rats, family. Now that I've said that, I'll have the God 720 add value, and then I'll read this little article I got into how rats tie into us right now. 720, what say ye?
Well, how about you go ahead and read into how rats tie into us right now, and then I'll pull up the book and I'll read the rat section that's inside the plague section.
Ooh,
because there was so much, the plague was so complex that we had to understand there was a possibility of a multitude of different origins from all the material that I read. So understanding that, I took each origin and gave its own little page or two of information on what the possibilities were. And that's everything from lice to fleas to ticks to rats, and even locusts. We're all there was a lot of plagues that started from locusts alone,
Right. Absolutely.
Right. But today's focus is going to be the rats, because that's what we see specifically in New York and in Chicago. And the majority of the people are not educated. Right. And I mean, you could throw in all the other cities too. DC, Baltimore, Boston, all of that. But go ahead.
Jerry has said not having proper sewer systems. That was cholera. Close, but no cigar. Cholera was bad. Not saying it wasn't, but the whole sewer system thing. That was the sewer from cholera. But still good information. So here we go. This is from Channel 4. I think CBS is the Peacock. I'm not sure what the Peacock represents, or maybe ABC. I don't remember. But anyway, this is Channel 4 from New York, and the article is titled "NYC Rat Sightings Double to Unsettling 60,000 in the Last Year, Health Data Shows." It says, according to data posted by NYC Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, that's interesting. Anyway, city inspectors documented twice as much rodent activity in 2022 than in 2021. Because and for 2023, we're not done with 2023, so those numbers aren't in yet. So as the last number count we got, it is doubled. Here's what else the I team found, and I'll read a little bit and then I'll pass the mic. So it says, if you've gotten that creepy feelings that rats are running amok on NYC sidewalks lately, the numbers back you up. According to data posted by NYC Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, city inspectors documented twice as much rodent activity in 2022 than 21. It's frightening, it's unsettling, unsafe, and unhealthy, said some dude. One of our several members of East 69th Street Association, a neighborhood group that has complained of rats plaguing Upper East Side sidewalks. In total, city health inspectors documented about 60,000 instances of rodent activity in the 5 boroughs last year. That compares with a 30,000 rodent citation of 21. City Hall partly blamed the doubling of rat sightings on the fact that health inspectors visited more properties last year than the previous years. But that doesn't tell the whole story. I'll, let that breathe. That was, I guess, pretty much the synopsis. I don't believe that they're checking more. I believe that's just an excuse for why the numbers are so high. I digress.
Right. I read an article that said it's estimated up to 3 million rats are in the whole city of New York. Okay.
Now that sounds about accurate. I'm almost 1,000,000% sure the numbers that we have are lowball, because it puts them in a better light. I digress, please.
Well, when you understand the infrastructure of New York, DC, I think maybe even Baltimore. I don't know. I'm not specific about Baltimore, but I know for a fact DC and New York are actually built on top of an older city. So they have a lot of runways and a lot of old train systems and stuff that are underneath ground that aren't being used. And I don't know if they're using the numbers from the numbers of rats in those regions, in addition with the numbers of rats that they're seeing above ground. So there's a large underground infrastructure, and then we're talking about all the stuff at the docks. New York does have a large dock system of, bringing in the freight on the cargo ships and whatnot. So there's a lot of rats in that region as well. We don't thoroughly know. Does Rochester, is that included? I don't know the geographic details of that region, but I do know this, that Brooklyn, Bronx, Long Island, Manhattan, and even Rochester, Rikers Island, they're all islands. So they're connected with the water. Where is the sewage going? You see? So that sewage water is definitely right. I don't know. I remember back in the day, there used to be a lot of rumors about alligators and crocodiles being in the sewer systems of New York. Have you ever heard that?
I have.
Yeah,
I gotta be honest, I didn't really think it was rumor. I took it, and of course it's rumor, but I took it as facts. But let's continue on.
Right. And then what somebody said here in the comments is the rat Cesar. And that's something else that I ran into in an interview here. Not an interview, but in an article, that the mayor had to actually hire a rat Cesar. So this situation right here has definitely directly connected us with the medieval times. And how is that? Because there was rat catchers during that time. You see?
Teach.
Hold on, let me see here. I'm about to bring it up right now.
Well, while you're looking for that, I have 2 sentences from the article talking about the rat czar. Would you like me to read that, or you got yours ready?
Yeah, you can go ahead and read it.
Okay. And let me put some respect on the family name. That was Marathon Marley. Shout out to you. The rat czar isn't doing his job. So if you're not a New Yorker, you made like the rat czar. What the heck? So it says here in the article, late last year, Mayor Adams signed a legislative package aimed at eradicating rats. One of the bills allows the city to significantly reduce the number of hours garbage can sit on public sidewalks. Last sentence. Adams also announced the intent to hire a new, quote unquote, rat czar to coordinate municipal anti-rodent efforts. So that's right, family. This is not something we're saying because it's cute. This is official language.
Yeah, go ahead and add that to the screen real quick, and I'll do a little slideshow of pictures. You see it down there? You see it on the share screen? You got it up? Okay,
yes, sir.
There it is. Okay. So that is the plague of rats, okay, in the French trenches, an official rat catcher with his dog in their bag, okay? You see all the rats that they caught pertaining to, I guess a plague that happened during a wartime. This is a drawing of a rat catcher. This is a better one right here. Okay. And
history repeats itself.
He has a flag right there of the rat as well. He has the peg leg. You understand? And then he has the rats in the box, the rats all around him, and usually they have well-trained cats during the medieval times. Okay.
Brother, I want to ask a question real quick because
go ahead.
I think this is jogging my memory. I may be wrong. Wasn't the Pied Piper, because we talk about the Pied Piper and children, but the full story, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the full story is they hired the rat, I'm going to say the rat czar. The Pied Piper was originally hired to deal with the city's rat problem. And he played a little pipe or whatever the case may be, and he dealt with the city's rat problem, and then they didn't want to pay. So then that's when the Pied Piper took the children. But today they would have called him the rat czar, but whatever the case may be.
Right. And that was that story is also in the volume 2 of the Kicked Out of Heaven, the Pied Piper. But then to even go a little bit further on some metaphysics, remember R. Kelly did the Pied Piper.
I remember that.
And he is the hood rat catcher. You see
Ooh,
that?
bro, you teaching.
I had to slip
You
that
teaching.
in real quick.
Right.
That? Right. So yeah, the hood rat catcher. You understand? And so yeah. So let's go into another one right here. Let me do some reading. I gotta do some reading now. Okay. Here we go.
And after that, I'll dabble into Chicago because I put New York and Philly. Shout out to the tri-state, but Chicago. I thank you so much to the Got 720. We can't leave Chi-Town out. Chi-Town has made news recently. We're not just saying it, but listen. This is breaking news. Whenever you're ready, 720. If not, I can. I think I have my Chicago thing ready.
I'm trying to. It's not. Let me see here. Let me try to pull it again.
Babe. Oh shoot.
Yeah, it's not giving me the option for my Microsoft here. No, that is not what I want. Well, I could just read it because it's not giving me the it's not giving me the option to pull up my Microsoft Word. Unless you know a different way to do it. Do I have to click on share file, video file, or slides?
I'm not 100% sure, to be transparent. But
okay, there it is.
Okay, well, let's see what you got. Bingo.
It's up there. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm gonna be reading. I'm just gonna go ahead and read the whole thing.
Please.
So y'all can get a good gist of how the style of this book is written, okay? So rats, right here. The native black rat was already engaged in fierce competition with the larger and more combative brown rat for the available feeding places, and the rebuilding hastened the process by which the brown rats introduced from ships drove out their smaller and blacker cousins. All rats carry fleas, but the black rat is happier in houses where there are human beings, and therefore tends to be a more dangerous plague carrier. The brown rat does not like the disturbance caused by human inhabitants and prefers to live in buildings that are not inhabited, such as warehouses and stores. London reaped the benefit of the ecological change, and the plague was virtually eliminated. Another prevalent notion regarding rats was that they had a presentiment of coming evil and always deserted in time a ship about to be wrecked or a house about to be flooded or burned. And that's why we use the term rat for snitches now, is because they can tell when danger is about to come. So when a rat tells, that's bringing danger, because the police got to go investigate what the rat is saying. So that is danger brought to the criminals that the rat is telling on. You see how that works? All right.
Right.
So lately as 1854, it was seriously reported in a Scotch provincial newspaper that the night before a town mill was burned, the rats belonging to the establishment were met migrating in a body to a neighboring peas field. The notion acquires importance as the basis of a new verb in the English language, to rat much, used in political party janglings. Mr. Bewick, the ingenious wood engraver, has put on record a fact regarding rats nearly as mystical as any of the above. He alleges that the skins of such of them as have been devoured in their holes, for they are cannibals to a sad extent, have frequently been found curiously turned inside out, every part of them being completely inverted, even to the ends of the toes. Okay? So that means they do have some weird intelligence, especially in cannibalism, and when they devour another rat, they flip their whole body inside out. Okay. The church on various occasions pronounced against the fatalistic opinion that certain conjunctions of the stars were the cause of the plague. In astrology, she perceived the remnants of paganism, and Ceso de Escali, who cast the nativity of Christ and from it deduced his death on the cross, was in 1327 condemned to be burnt at the stake. In spite and of Paul III, we know that he never held a consistorium without having previously had the hour determined by astrologers. On the other hand, a sinister significance was attributed by comets by the church. Thus, the Pope excommunicated the comet, which appeared in 1532, and a ban was placed on the grubs, caterpillars, locusts, rats, mice, and even cockchafers as precursors of the plague in 1478 by the Bishop of Bern, 1516 by the Bishop of Troyes, and 1541 by the Bishop of Lausanne. A particularly remarkable action was taken against mice in France in 1540. The circumstances of this legal farce are, in certain districts of France, the mice had completely devoured the corn in the fields, had done immense damage. The rural population was greatly incensed, but did not know how to wreak their vengeance on the vermin. At last, it occurred to them that they could do no better than to lodge a complaint against the mice with the bishop, requesting him to pronounce a ban on them. Then they would be rid of them once and for all. Immediately, they drew up and submitted their complaint, requesting the grant of the needed official protection. The bishop summoned a consistorium and discussed this difficult case with the clergy. The opinion of all was that the request of the poor people must be granted, but in order to condemn no one without having heard his defense, they decided that it was necessary to summon the mice 3 times. This was done. When the mice did not put in an appearance, the bishop still refrained from pronouncing the ban and maintained that before this could be done, a council must be appointed for the accused who could plead for the absentees. The council did his best and pointed out to the judges that the mice had not been served with summons in the legal manner, and that therefore they could not be expected to appear. And he attained that much that the mice were once more summoned from all pulpits for a certain day. Although the mice remained...
I'm done.
Hold on. Although the mice remained irresponsible and did not appear, their counsel still set forth how it was impossible for the mice to arrange an appearance in a short time and pleaded for an extension. In addition, they had not assured of safe conduct and had therefore not been able to come. Everywhere in villages, towns, and on the roads, the cats cruelly waylaid them. He therefore begged to delay judgment. The care was adjourned sine die. Okay, let me read this part right here, and then we'll get to it. Fleas, though a common household nuisance, are not once mentioned in contemporary plague writings, and rats only incidentally, although folklore commonly associated them with the pestilence. The legend of Pied Piper, as Brother Crumb mentioned earlier, and is in Kicked Out of Heaven, Volume 2. The legend of Pied Piper arose from an outbreak of 1284. The actual plague, Bacillus pastorula pestis, remained undiscovered for another 500 years, living alternatively in the stomach of the flea and the bloodstream of the rat, who was the flea's host. The bacillus in its bubonic form was transferred to humans and animals by the bite of either rat or flea. It traveled by virtue of Rattus rattus, the small medieval black rat that lived on ships, as well as by the heavier brown or sewer rat. What participated the turn of the bacillus from innocuous or to virulent form is unknown. Okay, and then we have a picture here. This is bubonic plague in Sydney, how a city survived the Black Death in 1900. A heap of rats at about 600 different rats right here. Okay, this picture was taken in July 1900. Ain't too long ago, my friend.
Not at all.
Okay. So you see how they took extreme measures from the observation of astrology all the way down to getting the Pope involved and the local bishops to excommunicate the rats out of the church. Okay.
Right.
So, yeah.
I wanted to go over this article real quick from I think it's 1 day ago. It reads, Chicago's rat rage grows. Chicago's rat problem, and we're going to get to the plague in just a second, family. Chicago rat problem is nothing new. The city has long been dubbed one of America's rattiest cities, quote unquote. In 2022, Orkin named Chicago the rat capital of the United States for the 8th consecutive year. So, what is being done to rally against the rodents? In a joint investigation with Illinois Answer Project and Block Club Chicago, WGN Investigations looked at how the city and its residents are dealing with the problem. And it's no really need to go into that, but I was going to say that to lead from that, here's another article. You can't make this up, family. Well, rats don't really correlate. Hold on, family. I think the rats might do correlate. This next article is from April 3rd, 2023, which was a Monday. It reads, lots of illnesses currently circulating in the tri-state area. So we have a perfect storm, because we remember, because this is well, a large part of it is coming from the book Kicked Out of Heaven. You're going to have to go there to get a better understanding of the medieval fan. If you want to understand the medieval, Kicked Out of Heaven is going to be your source material. So
right, if you want to understand right now, Kicked Out of Heaven is your source material, because you have to understand that there is no America without the medieval. The medieval developed America.
Right.
Okay, keep going.
So we saw with the medieval where there was a perfect storm between illness, because a lot of people in the comments had said the reason the plague got where it was a cocktail of different things, and those all are true statements. So we're seeing that perfect storm where there's a cocktail of similar ingredients from the plague times, from the medieval times with the plague, and those same factors are now in the exact same equation. So it says lots of illnesses currently circulating in the tri-state area, and this was written in Cincinnati, Ohio, talking about them, and they go into covert or novert or whatever novid or whatever you want to call it. And I just want to cite that, not to necessarily read it, but I do want to read this. I do want to reference this new thing. So after Novid came out, or Covert came out, everybody started referencing what was that movie everybody was referencing? I Am Legend.
Oh, okay.
I Am Legend, because that was in New York. So now, and we saw New York was ground zero for Covert, and now I Am Legend 2 is coming out, which for me, this is just the. Listen, fam, put your tinfoil hat on. This is the time where we put our tinfoil hats on, because I'm about to get spacey. I tend to do that from time to time. Please forgive me. So now, but because David Icke, I don't, he's just a person. I don't put too much stock into him. But David Icke came out with a term called predictive programming. So with predictive programming, he said, or he alluded to the fact that they know what's going to happen in the future. They set these things up, and they'll show you in a way where it seems fictional. So now a lot of people felt that way about Covert or Novid or whatever you want to call it. So on the heels of this perfect storm that the God 720 and I are referring to you with, it even comes with a heads up, though it's a little bit movie-ish, but hey, listen, I don't believe in chance. So now the I Am 2 movie is coming out, of course, starring Will Smith, and it got Michael B. Jordan is going to be in it. Smith's character, Will Smith's going to come back even though he died in part 1. I don't want to go there. But what I'm saying is that all the stars are aligned, no pun intended, to when he talked about the zodiac for the mice. The astrological aspect of it, but yeah, I'm going to confirm that all the stars are aligned. The movies are telling you there's going to be another, I Am Legend coming. The news is telling you there is sickness throughout the land. The latest reports are telling you we've got the outbreak in terms of the rodent infestation. I've said a lot. Let me breathe.
It's amazing on how many different things are blatantly trying to kill us off, on how many things are blatantly dividing us, on on a relationship, family status, you know, male, female. It's amazing. And we're doing nothing about it. You know, we're having podcasts, talking and clicking and watching videos. And that's not enough. That is not hands-on getting things done. As you can see, I get things done. So, you know, awareness is very important, but it's only what 1/10 of the you know, mode of getting things, you know, carrying out what needs to be done, creating a plan and executing the plan from A to Z and making sure that you get the desired results. Like, B, that's where my brain is at. I take things from A to Z. This is not a game. Crumb TV is not entertainment. The God 720 is not entertainment. This is real shit going on. Specifically, before I get to reading this flea section, which is pertinent, you know, even though we're talking about the rats, but as what I just read, the rat's host is the flea. So, and I've had an experience of my house was plagued by fleas one time when I was younger. That's all in the Black Man's Bible. So I know how to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, this isn't entertainment. This is all reality. Just like the situation that's going on here in Philly. Philly has heroin needles everywhere, bums everywhere, heroin everywhere, mattresses, which are hotbeds for both bed bugs and fleas. And what carries fleas as well? Dogs. You see that? So for those who are hoarding the animal and keeping the little lassie around in your house, you are inviting fleas. Okay? So how many people do you know in your neighborhood have dogs? They are automatically setting up their house as a hotbed for fleas if this was to go on. And then, you know, we're also talking about our air. You know, you're breathing your air through an event if you're in, you know, and not only, I mean, homes are built like that, of course, but we're talking about apartment buildings specifically. So what happened if there's a flea situation in one of the apartments or a rat situation in one of the apartments? And, you know, the bug men come through and they kill it. And the scent from the death of the fleas, of the amount of fleas and the amount of rats are going into the air, and it's mixed into your vent and you're breathing it. You see? And this is go ahead.
I wanted to add value right there. I wasn't quite ready for the Philly thing, but I'm glad you did bring it up. I just want to throw this in here really quickly. I'm not going to read it. I just want to kind of cite it as a reference because when we think of fleas, the other vermin infestation for the animals, our dogs, cats, or whatever, is going to be their counterpart, the tick, which we know with the whole Lyme disease thing is on par with the flea. And, you know, I don't want to pick on New York. Shout out to all my New Yorkers. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. But we do have a dog fetish, and I do call it a fetish at this point. And it says tick-borne illnesses are on the rise across the tri-state. Here's why. We're not going to read it, but the God 720 brought up a big point. And in the medieval, there was a big issue with the animals being in the houses when they should have been corralled into the barn or whatever the case may be. So I just want to cite that as well to add to the perfect storm. I yield the floor.
Okay, now back to what Crumb mentioned with the predictive programming. So let me ask Crumb a question. Do you remember when we were kids and you always heard sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite?
Teach!
But you didn't experience no bed bugs. We didn't know what the fuck they were talking about.
Correct.
Remember? There was no news reports of bed bugs when we were kids. Not in hotels. The shit wasn't on newspapers. The shit wasn't on the news. We just thought it was just like a little saying, you know, like psych you out or psych. Like we used to do that. We used to do psych to each other. And now people are having psychological issues. So we used to do the sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite. And now there's bed bugs everywhere. Now, if you want to look at what a bed bug is, a bed bug to me, I think is a combination of a flea and a tick. okay? Because they look like ticks in size, but they have mannerisms of a flea, but they don't jump. Remember flea circuses when we were kids? They used to show that type of stuff on TV. They could train fleas. I don't know how you train fleas because fleas jump. That's the only way they know they can travel is by jumping, and they jump very high and far, you know. But a flea sucks blood, and a tick would usually suck blood of animals. They wasn't sucking blood of humans. So I think a bed bug, which doesn't a bed bug is not a genus name, you know, like a tick or a flea. That's their genus name, their family name of the species. You see what I'm saying? It operates and moves like a tick. It looks like a tick, but it has the eating desires of a flea. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and read this little section real quick about the fleas here. Let's put this screen back up.
Okay.
Okay, hold on here. Okay, there we go. Okay. So, plague is carried by fleas, which in their turn are passengers on rats and other rodents. And then we also got to think about that. Rats and other rodents, and everybody's doing all this exotic animal shit in America right now, trying to be cute and get views on the TikTok and YouTube, and they don't know what these animals carry or what they can have as a host inside their body pertaining to diseases in the blood or parasites. Okay, Xenocilla. Go ahead.
Wait, 720. My apologies. Before you go, I'm sorry. Before you start, I wanted to just ask the audience, because remember, the source material for then and now is going to be Kicked Out of Heaven, brought to you by Keenan Booker, the God 720. Now, when we're dealing with Kicked Out of Heaven, 720, can you tell me the full name of the book, please?
The full name of the book is Kicked Out of Heaven: The Untold History of the White Races, circa 700 to 1700 AD.
So what we're dealing with, family, respectfully, because this is not no hate. We don't hate anybody. Listen, we're above that. But this is the untold history of the white races. So when you're dealing with bed bugs, that correct, that's not their genus, but they are indigenous to Europe. When we're dealing with roaches, I want to just put this out there really quickly, and then we can start the reading. Because roaches they spread a lot of disease as well. I believe, I'm not sure. I don't get me to line. I had roaches and we didn't have no diseases, but I'll just keep it there. Oh yeah, here we go, family. Tap all the way in, all the way. There you go, right there. That's where you get your source material from. KickedOutOfHeaven.com.
That's why our dress shoes are pointed now. They were called croc cows. Hmm? Yeah, because they were designed for stepping on roaches, dog.
Oh my God, you teaching?
Yeah, all of that's in now Kicked Out of Heaven. Our hard bottom shoes on the Stacey Adams, the stomp down hard bottoms. They have the hard bottoms, and they're designed like that for killing roaches.
I wanted to ask the listening audience, where are roaches? The nationality. What is the? Now I'm not talking about palmetto bugs. I'm talking about the roaches your ass had in the hood when your ass was in the ghetto. What was the nationality of those roaches? And while the family answers, I will yield the floor, and good brother 720, the God 720, can start the reading process. My apologies.
Yeah, like they said, the German roaches, the little small ones, you know.
Right, but because we're dealing with the untold history, y'all gotta go get the book. It's not even optional anymore.
Yeah, there you go. That is the attitude. Go ahead, I'm with you. No, they don't get it. They don't get it. If you're not a reader, you're not going to get it, because you're gonna hear the screams, you know, of the witches. You're gonna say the first chapter is 1,000 years of natural disasters. You understand, and that's where you get a little bit prepared for locust plagues and other different forms of plagues, because a lot of the natural disaster conditions enforced plagues on the people, and you have to, you know, we're dealing with millions of deaths. We're dealing with thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people dying, famines, and all of that. That's right in the first chapter. to get you prepared for what you're going to be going through throughout the full 3-volume series. You see. So, you ready?
Please.
Okay, let's do this. So, Xenocilla chiapis, the flea mostly concerned, is harbored by mammoths in Central Asia and then transfers to rats in the Western countries. The rats themselves are susceptible to plague, and this may be one of the reasons why epidemics finally fade out. But the fleas can spread to human beings or other animals and pass from one victim to another, taking a little blood and paying for it in a deadly currency of plague germs. It is ironic that without the flea as a go-between, bubonic plague is not really very infectious. It requires very close contact with the sick person for the germs to transfer. While the frightened medieval citizens and the baffled doctors were devising elaborate defenses against the miasma of plague, against breathing the same air as the plague victims or smelling them, and even against the supposed malignant powers of the sufferer's eyes, the evil eye, which is also explained in the book. They still allowed their houses to run with rats and their bodies in beds with fleas. Fleas were so common that they were regarded almost affectionately as a constant companion to man. Certainly fleas and lice, if not man's best friend, might be considered his closest friends, and those who were lucky enough to have the best and warmest clothes often had the most fleas. Not suspecting the humble flea and knowing nothing of bacteria, contemporaries of the Black Death sought for the evil spirits, poisonous atmospheres, or deadly rays from comets that must have spread the disease. Martin Luther, who lived from 1483 to 1546 and metaphysically may have gotten the name Martin Luther King, Martin Luther, okay? So, during a later outburst of the plague, declared that evil spirits poisoned the air or otherwise infected the poor people by their breath and injected the mortal poison into their bodies. Credulous observers reported a blue flame flying through the air and developing on the lips of the dying. In 1338, the plague was ascribed to the poisonous remains of a great infestation of locusts that appeared from the east and ravaged Italy and Germany. It was reported that the locust settles so thickly on the thatched roofs of houses that their liquid excrement dripped through like a foul rain into the rooms below. Forestus alcmaranius covers all the possibilities. Newly developed flies, worms, and midges are observed on the snow. The fruit and other crops fail to mature or rot. Disease is observed particularly among sheep and swine. Dogs go mad. Many move like shadows on the wall. Black vapors are observed to rise from the earth like a mist. The ravens are prompted by unusual impulses and fly around the hospitals in pairs. In the neighborhood of water, there is for a full hour a sound of washing and beating of clothes at night, which is heard quite close, and it has been observed that this is indicative of a plague birds appear. Some maintain that a ghost with a voice like some lowing domestic animal is heard. Frogs sit huddled together in scores or one on top of the other. In the hospitals and sick houses, a great rushing wind is heard. And when one perceives among men a great lack of reliability, jealousy, and hatred and wantonness, if then the plague does not ensue, some other inscrutable disease that is difficult to cure is sure to come. Fleas had been carrying bubonic plague around Europe ever since the Black Death in 1348 to 1349. And about the beginning of the 17th century, the outbreaks grew more serious. In 1610 to 1611, several towns and villages suffered epidemics as catastrophic as in the Black Death, and the disease spread more rapidly, so that one infected person could swiftly bring all his or her neighbors into danger. In Botsford, Leicester, and the burial of Catherine Habit in February 1609 to 1610, the year still ended on the 25th of March, so that February counted as nearly the end of 1609, not nearly the beginning of 1610, inspired the vocal vicar to doggerel verse. And there the plague began. She dying poisoned many. The infection was so great, where it came, ye scarce left any. Sometimes plague was apparently associated with moral turpitude. An entry in the Great Coggeshall, Essex parish register shows a regrettable lack of Christian charity. In 1578, August 10th, Lord Smith, wife of John Smith, was buried, the first to die of the plague. This Lord Smith was the instrument of the Lord, used to bring the infection of the plague into this town. She was the first that died of that infectious sickness, and the most of those that followed died of the same, until the wintertime came, when the Lord in mercy stayed the same. The woe man was commonly noted to be a notable harlot. In 1625, London was struck by a particularly sudden outbreak. John Evelyn, recalling this event in his childhood, he was 5 at the time, says, "I was the year, being the first of the reign of King Charles, sent by my father to Lewes in Sussex, to be with my grandfather Stanfield, with whom I passed my childhood. This was the year in which the pestilence was so epidemical that there died in London 5,000 a week. And I will remember the strict watches and examinations upon the ways as we passed. And I was shortly after so dangerously sick of a fever that, as I have heard, the physicians despaired of me. The strict watches were set up by every village and town to drive away any wanderers who might be suffering from the plague or carry the infection with them. As in the worst period of the Black Death, self-preservation came before humanitarianism or hospitality. By January 1664 to 1665, the numbers of deaths in the proper parishes was increasing with alarming rapidity, from the usual weekly average of about 240 to 394, 415, 474. Then there was a merciful slackening until June, when in St. Giles Parish, more than 100 people died of plague. Pepys had the unpleasant truth forced into his consciousness by this outbreak. This day, June 7th, 1665, must against my will, I did in Drury Lane see 2 or 3 houses marked with a red cross upon the doors, and Lord have mercy upon us, right there, which was a sad sight to me, being the first of the kind that to my remembrance I ever saw. It put me into an ill conception of myself and my smell, so that I was forced to buy some rolled tobacco to smell to and chaw, which took away the apprehension. By July, death was parading openly in the streets. Evelyn noted 1,100 deaths in a week up to the July 16th, and 2,000 in the following week, 4,000 a week by August 8th, and 5,000 in the following week, and 10,000 weekly by September 7th. However, I went along the city and suburbs from Kent Street to St. James, a dismal passage, and dangerous to see so many coffins exposed in the streets. Now thin of people, the shops shut up, and all in mournful silence, not knowing whose turn it might be next. And on October 11th, he added to London and went through the whole city, having occasion to alight out of the coach in several places about business or of money, when I was environed with multitudes of poor pestiferous creatures begging alms. The shops universally poor shut up, a dreadful prospect. Business in the city had almost ceased. On the 16th of August, Pepys recorded that 2 shops in 3 were shut up, and very few people remained. The universal fear of contamination pervaded everyone's behavior. Thence, with a lanthorn in great fear of meeting dead corpses, carried to be buried, but blessed be God, met none, but did see now and then a link, which is the mark of them, at a distance. And Pepys again wrote on August 22nd, I went away and walked to Greenwich, in way seeing a coffin with a dead body therein, dead of the plague, lying in an open close belonging to Coombe Farm, which was carried out last night, and the parish have not appointed anybody to bury it, but only set a watch there day and night, and nobody should go thither or come thence, which is a most cruel thing. This disease making us more cruel to one another than if we are dogs. Back in the 18th century, fleas were a common problem for all cases and would happily live in beds, inside wigs, and on pets, and everyone was prey to them. Bathing, of course, helped, and there was the tried and tested method of painstakingly searching for and picking off the little critters. The Parisian artist Nicolas Lanceret from 1690 to 1743, in a couple of his genre paintings, depicted some ladies searching themselves for fleas and offering the viewer a titillating glimpse of flesh while doing so. One other way popular for a short period in the 18th century was to use a flea trap, which became a popular fashion accessory. It consisted of a hollow, perforated cylindrical tube, sometimes ornately carved and made of silver or ivory, inside which would be a small rod, tuft of fur, or a piece of cloth. This would be smeared with a few drops of blood to attract the fleas, and also fat, honey resin, designed to make the fleas stick fast to it as they crawled inside, and which was removed as necessary to get rid of them. The flea trap was worn on a ribbon as a necklace hanging down inside a dress. It could also be placed in a bed to attempt to rid of the fleas. A German doctor named Franz Ernst Bruckmann designed the first flea trap in the early 1700s. And here is a picture of it.
Okay. Give me 1 second, please.
Okay.
Say, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Okay, so let me continue to read it, I guess. Let me see here. So this little area is very important that I'm about to read right here. And the reason being is because these are one of the small elements that created social status symbols. Okay, specifically the social status symbol of the peasant woman trying to appreciate, glamorize, and admire the woman of a higher financial social status that they're duplicating and mimicking. So basically, that's like the girl that's at your job that's idolizing Kim Kardashian, or the girl that's at your job that's idolizing the Beyonce. The whole spirituality of the idolization of somebody from a higher social system is something that was developed over hundreds of years of times. So we need to, we're going to read this little area right here that's related with fleas, that's related with the queen, and that's related with females following the way of the queen. Okay. Now, the French name for the flea was la puce, which is supposedly how we have the name for the color today. It is taken from the color of a squashed flea, or one full of blood, or from the blood stains left behind by a flea on the bed sheets. Reputedly, the brownish purple was one of Marie Antoinette's favorite colors, and it was Louis XIV who jokingly compared it to the color of a flea, and so named it. For domestic anecdotes of the French nation during the last 30 years, indicative of the French Revolution, written in 1800 by Isaac D'Israeli, the author and father of the British Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli, states, in the summer of 1775, the queen being dressed in a brown lutestring, the king good-humoredly observed it was the color de puce, the color of fleas, and instantly every lady would be dressed in a lutestring of a flea color. The mania was caught by the men, and the dyers in vain exhausted themselves to supply the hourly demand. They distinguished between an old and a young flea, and they subdivided even the shades of the body of the insect. The belly, the back, the thigh, and the head were all marked by varying shades of this color. This prevailing tint promised to be the fashion of the winter. The vendors of silk found that it would be pernicious to their trade. They therefore presented new satins to Her Majesty, who, having chosen one of a gray ash color, Monsieur exclaimed that it was the color of Her Majesty's hair. Immediately, the fleas ceased to be favorites, and all were eager to be dressed in the color of Her Majesty's hair. Servants were sent off at the moment from Fontainebleau to Paris to purchase velvets, ratines, and cloths of this color. The current price in the morning had been 40 livres per ell, and it rose towards the evening to the price of 80 to 90 livres. Okay, so that's showing you how the average female just copies whatever the queen is doing and they don't even know what the queen is doing or where her new attire is coming from, or her new wordplay, or her new choreography pertaining to dance, or the new lyrics in her song, or anything like that. They don't know where it's coming from. They just automatically want to follow the way of the queen, and the queen is over here walking around in a bloody flea dress.
Not only that dress, but you also mentioned the wigs. What they would do back in them days is put talcum, which is illegal now because it kills babies or whatever, in the wigs to stop fleas from getting to the wigs. And today, when I was younger, I think today they'll say anything. Women will try to justify it with anything. But, we would say that wig has horse hair. We would call weave horse hair because that's, we didn't know the queen was getting that beautiful, well, we thought it was beautiful, that beautiful mane, because it's not hair, that beautiful fur off the butt of a filly. Shout out to Philly, no pun intended. That was not for disrespect. I do see my family from Philly in here. We are running over time, which is no problem, but we really, because we put Philly in the title not to get a Philly's attention, because there's some ish going down in Philly, which adds to the perfect storm of a Black Plague. I didn't even notice he stepped away. But yeah, with that said,
I'm right here, brother.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I was just saying that we went over the hour with really not giving Philly its just attention, because we talked about Chicago, we talked about New York, we skimmed over Philly, and Philly's a huge part in this because you've got a factor in Philly that we still haven't brought up yet. And
the undead.
The undead. When you talk about Black Plague,
the undead, the Walking Dead. You saw now. Let me ask you something. Why in the hell do we need to have a TV show like The Walking Dead going on for 10 years straight?
Woo!
And as that time, throughout that 10-year space, is when the LGBTQ was developing, which is the undead.
Oh my God!
Because you're not producing life with that, with the backward sexual act.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So you are the undead. You see that?
Right.
And that's all inside the Kicked Out of Heaven too. Do we need to read from the undead section? Okay. Well, and one thing that I wanted to note that before we go into that was how I talked about the flea catcher. Okay. The flea catcher, or the flea trap, that is in the book, it shows you how it's made. So now you have a device to protect yourself if this type of situation was to go haywire, and you can almost put it in your expectation for it to go haywire because of the amount of dogs the average neighborhood has. Okay. Once the fleas go crazy, the dogs are going to have the fleas. Keep going.
Just to confirm what 720 is 7, Philly Drip family. If the family's name is Philly Drip, I would assume he knows a little something about Philly. Philly Drip says Walking Dead will end in Philadelphia, family. So that's the confirmation. Boots on the ground. That's all, please.
Oh, that's what it said about the TV show? Because the majority of
the brother from Philly. The brother from Philly was confirming what you were saying with The Walking Dead in association with Philly. Y'all better tap in.
But the Walking Dead, the TV show, was actually filmed in Georgia. Okay, It was filmed in Georgia, and no disrespect to my Atlanta niggas, I used to live out there, and one reason I can't live out there is because it is mentally dead. The whole zone is mentally dead. As a matter of fact, it is the lesbian capital. Atlanta is the lesbian capital of America. So that's The Walking Dead right there. Because
I didn't know that.
A lesbian is The Walking Dead. She's not producing life. You see? So let's go down. Let's go on here. Are we going to go into saying, go ahead.
Yep. Okay, please. No, please.
No. Go ahead. Say what you're about to say.
No, yeah. Philly Drip was just confirming what you were saying, all wise, right, and exact. I just thought it was very interesting of that confirmation. I actually wanted to read something real quick, just because there's a lot of people who are listening now and going to catch this later, who I would assume is not familiar. Oh, the main character of the show is in Philadelphia. So this is quite lit. I didn't even know that. So this is quite literal. I wanted to read this real quick. This is something that the guy 720 and I were talking about the day before yesterday, which is the needles. Is that okay, or did you want to go somewhere else real quick?
No. Go ahead, because this is the undead area. It's funny how we just brought that up, because what you got to understand is that the life of a zombie or the Dracula, because and then see, I got to go deep. You want to go deep on the psychological principles of all of this? The flea is a bloodsucker. So is the werewolf. So is the zombie. So is the undead. But the original undead that's recorded in the medieval times from supposedly real events, they weren't bloodsuckers. That evolved later on. And what you have to understand is that these entities evolve in the space of theater. Okay? They create the character in theater over time. So when you're looking at a TV show like The Walking Dead, you're actually looking at like maybe let's see here, 2000. You're looking at about a confirmed 400, 500 years of theater development to get to that entity. Okay, so go ahead.
It said, Intep Robinson also says, throwing a layer into this, I find very interesting. The CDC is in Atlanta too, the Center for Disease Control. Wow, we're going very, very deep, and it's getting all the more disturbing. But let me just bring some more source material. This is from the city of Philadelphia. St. Freestyle family. This is all wise, right, and exact. So it says, Philly's street drug supply has become more potent and unpredictable, increasing the risk of overdose. Fentanyl, a highly potent synthetic opioid, has replaced heroin as the most common drug involved in fatal overdoses and is often mixed with something, let's just call it Tranq, an animal tranquilizer not meant for humans.
Yeah. So click on images real quick. Let's roll the dice. We have to roll the dice.
Right. I don't know what to expect right here. Oh my God.
Yeah. You see that? You see?
Yeah.
You see this? You see this? No. Yeah. There we go. Come on. Let's get to some of the hardcore. Come on. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Okay. This is the streets. That is The Walking Dead right there. And that's a hotbed for fleas. That's a hotbed for rats running around. That's a hotbed for disease. And they know you're not educated on these things. That's what's so crazy, because see, medical intelligence is medical intelligence. Historical medical intelligence is a different thing than just medical. Then if you go to universities, you see what I'm saying? You're not supposed to get a roundabout of these things anthropologically, looking at an entire culture at one time and seeing what the multitude of different elements were that were all connected together. That's where you get kicked out of heaven. Okay? Because I go through the entirety of the culture, and there was a couple of other things that I may have missed, of course, but I go through the roots, and I provide pictures, just like the brother just provided pictures of the evidence of the heroin epidemic that's going down in Philly right now. I provided over 1,000 pictures, and they are in color when you shop with me, when you go to kickedoutofheaven.com. That's inside the literature that verifies everything that I'm stating, because the information was so outlandish that I had to provide pictures. And I mean, they were drawing a lot of cartoons and a lot of pictures during the medieval times. There's tons of paintings that support everything that I'm saying. So it was all factual. But here's the thing. While this is going on in medieval Europe, we were still chilling in Africa. We have yet the slave trade did not begin yet. You have to understand that. So a lot of the activity that's in the Kicked Out of Heaven is 1200, 1300, 1400. This is before the whole thing happened. Somebody said somebody stole the signed copies of the books I got. Do you know how many reports I have gotten of my books being stolen from somebody? Since when did the Negro steal books, my niggas? I mean, I guess it's a good thing, bad thing. I don't know.
You know what?
That's
that's funny. Right.
Yeah, we see him over here in California stealing people's fucking luggage from the airport. What the fuck is that about? But go ahead.
You were saying something that caught me off guard because I didn't know about The Walking Dead in Philly. I didn't know that. The CDC, the whole thing, I thought it was just a TV show, but it's real life, apparently. Now, but with that said, Philly, because of this Walking Dead situation being so bad, has followed up with the efforts of Joe Biden, where he was giving out federally crack pipes and needles. And let me just ask the listening audience, if you remember, I think it was last year or maybe early this year, if you remember when Joe Biden, a part of his reparations plans for all you Negroes, was giving you free crack pipes and needles, press 666. We haven't done it all show, 666. But with that said, the God 720 caught me off guard by saying that's at the state and municipal level of Philly. You go to Philly, collect 100 needles, they will refresh you with 100 fresh needles. The God brought
200.
attention. Wow. Okay. Well, that's better, or is that worse? I'm not sure.
We in the trap house. Nigga. I don't know. I mean, people been taking a lot of heroin ever since Bush got out of office. You know, the streets have been flooded. All that all the meds and shit, and all of that shit was. Remember they were saying, "Oh, take your meds." The OxyContin, the Adderall, the handlebars, the Xanax, all of that shit is heroin, bro, in different forms.
Woo! Oh yeah, opioids. That's right.
Yeah, opioids.
All of it.
Yeah, anything that's an opiate is opium. You know?
Teach.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Well, there's so much more to cover. I can't lie to nobody. We haven't.
Bro, and then let me throw this one in here too, because I've gotten this report from a lot of girls that are like 20, 25 years old, that their parents, their mothers, you know, Munchausen syndrome, which is in here. Munchausen syndrome, women have some type of psychological problem where they want to enforce sickness on their children in order to get gratuities from the community, or to get this whole type of we're serving you mechanism while they're inside the hospital. So they want to play as if their children are sick. And a lot of women have taken their children in. We're talking about 8 to 10 years old, and they're taking all of these meds, all these opiates, and all these pills, bro. That's why their developments are all fucking crazy. No hips, no breasts, looking all weird, purple hair, and all this other fucking crazy shit. Is because they are covert, indirect addicts, and we don't even know it. The mother don't even know it. They don't know what's in the pill. They just want to go to the doctor and be like, "Oh, my baby's sick," and the doctor's like, "Okay, you stupid bitch, you write down. Okay, here goes the pill, motherfucker. You know, and the motherfucker go to Walgreens and go get the pill, and then tuck my little baby and suck the titty and tuck the baby in and take the pill and put the fucking what is it? What is the temperature gauge? Put the temperature gauge in your mouth, bitch. The dog. That's what the motherfuckers do. They want to, and it also feeds their level of wanting to be important or feeling important. That they have to run back to the retard and help the retard every 5 fucking seconds. So it makes them feel like they're busy and they're doing something that's big and important. You're not doing nothing. because the retard will not assist society. Go ahead.
I wanted to give a little anecdotal story. I tried my best not to put all my personal business out there in the street. But yeah, I was telling 720 I forgot how long, maybe a couple days ago, about my little stint in jail. So the first offense I ever had, Cocoa, Florida, Brevard County. You can probably look me up if you know my government. Anyway, so yeah, I had marijuana on me. At the time, all I was doing in terms of street pharmaceuticals, all I was selling was marijuana. They pinned crack on me, and my mama went crazy. I said, Mama, they lying. But anyway, so yeah, I got locked up, and it was my first offense. I just turned 18, and as far as I knew, I was going to be in jail for a super long time because they caught me with a good bit. I ain't gonna lie. Anyway, so yeah, the year I got locked up when I was 18, I'm 40 now, so you can do the math yourself. That same year that I got locked up, and I was going to go down. I said, listen, this is my first offense. So George Bush has a brother named Jeb. This is in Brevard County, Cocoa, Florida. Has a brother named Jeb Bush, who in the time when I was in jail was the governor. So I'm talking to my public defender. You guys already know I ain't had no money. So yeah, I'm talking to my public defender, and he told me, you're going to be in there forever. And then Jeb Bush, he got twins. I think both of them got twins, George and Jeb. But Jeb's daughter, or maybe it was George's daughter. I don't remember. But she got caught at Eckerd's or one of these stores. I'm 40 now. This is when I was 18. You can do the math and search it on the computer and find out and corroborate my story. Jeb Bush's daughter, or maybe it was George Bush's daughter, one of them was a fucking pill junkie. It was her. This is in Florida. She was at Eckerd's, her first offense in Brevard County, Florida. And Florida, prior to when I was 18, they didn't have a first offenders program or a drug program. If you got caught with drugs, you asked to go to jail. Jeb Bush's daughter, or George Bush's daughter, I don't know whose daughter it was, had got caught with a fake prescription for oxys. And then the week she got caught, Florida had created a first-time offenders drug program. Me and Jeb Bush, or George Bush's daughter, were the first people. Me, her, and it was like maybe 5 other people were the first ones in Florida's ever first drug program. Now, the reason I don't know which one it is, because I went through the whole program. I never saw that I never saw that female one time in that program. Obviously, she passed. I saw her when I went to get my certificate, got the little whatever expunged, whatever the case may be. But yeah, at that particular time, this is coming from your boy. Old boy had just got locked up, and Sammy the Bull snitched on him. Sammy the Bull went down to Florida, put a lot of pills in Florida coming from, I guess, Cuba or whatever the case may be. And she had got busted for that, and that was the first-time drug program. And had it not been for George Bush or Jeb Bush's daughter family, I probably wouldn't be here right now because I got off on that program. I still went to jail later, but they were gonna throw the book at me. I was gonna get like 5 or some ridiculous number. But I did have a lot of marijuana, I'm not gonna lie, and the other stuff. But anyway, that's my little anecdotal. Brother, can you give us your final thoughts and let's close out?
Yeah, the final thoughts is the undead. Okay, it's here, it's available, it is a dynamic that is possible for our existence. I want to show y'all some pictures that's up in the book real quick. You see that? Those are the graves they used to put over the bodies that would reanimate, is what they stated. Basically, the necromancers that died, they would put these cages over their bodies so they wouldn't come back out of the ground. And that's also part of the reason why we have these humongous heavy caskets that we operate with today. Okay, is because they said the bodies would come back out. And who knows if that's going to be a true situation that we have to fight here. But one thing that we do know is it's been forced down our throats drastically. Did they see it? Did they see the pictures of them? Okay, we can stop the screen on that. But yeah, go to the kickedoutofheaven.com like I showed y'all. The pictures are there to verify everything that's being stated. Those pictures of those cages over those funeral plots, or the cemetery plots, excuse me, are taken out of Scotland Kirkyard. Okay, because the original word for church was Kirk, Kirk. Sort of like the baby's last name. So you got to watch out with a lot of the science that's going on here. You dig what I'm saying? But yeah, possibility of plague is on the way. If you want to know the truth about America and its origins and how to survive within this dimension, you have to get kicked out of heaven. I read over 100 books to put this information together. It's a compilation. As you heard, the material that I read is directly from their mouths. I didn't want to interrupt the truth. So I let you hear white people tell you about white history. And that's what these books are. Yeah, these are white scholars. And I went down to the Pepys, and I went down to the Daniel Defoes, and I went down to the Giovanni Boccaccio's. I picked up the real deals. These are the same literatures that are used in your Harvards and your Yales when it comes to socialism, and when they got to go through certain, classes like a socialism class for, if they're getting their lawyer degree or whatnot, just like the book, The Ethereal Law, is put inside ontology for Harvard business analysts. They have to go through ontology. And so I ran into information stating that they're using the Ethereal Law book. It's philosophy. You have to understand philosophy is the observation of society and predicting what is going to occur based on how the people are priorly operating. Okay. And us as African Americans, we don't have any philosophers. We have people who tell us historical elements about, man went to the 7-Eleven. That's the same thing as the Israelites marching out of Africa. You ain't telling us shit. Okay. Let's just be real. Let's be real, my nigga. You dig what I'm saying? So that's the truth behind it. Go to the kickedoutofheaven.com, get it. And me and Crumb, we're gonna be dibbling and dabbling in both. So I want y'all to be prepared for that. We're gonna be doing some things out of the encyclopedia on the alchemy of women, and I don't want women to feel like we're beating you up, okay? Because that's not what's going on. Y'all know y'all operate with a lot of secret shit. Y'all got a lot of secret shit going on in them fucking hospitals that are affecting our households, that's affecting the men and how we operate, and also affecting our capability of contributing to our society and making ourselves inclusive with the world. Because when it comes to the blacks in America, we are only inclusive in the world inside the space of entertainment. Okay? And that means we're getting old vegetables thrown at us and we're being laughed at. Because that's the results of entertainment besides the money you get from the door. You see, we don't know. The puppet masters that are setting up the whole theater are the ones that are really eating, obviously. And we see that through the many, many different interviews of all different types of black entertainers from many different areas in the arts, on podcasts and whatnot. They're all complaining about how they got ripped off and they're broke. So we need to enter into different arenas inside the social structure, inside the industries that are available for us to be interested into. You have to start your interest. Okay. So be interested in the medieval because you might find your soul there. You understand that? Because shit, nigga, y'all know the power that stands with me because of it. I'm gonna tell you that shit. But yeah, kickedoutofheaven.com, thewomens'alchemy.com. Go there, get the material. They show up signed. You get it with a certificate of authenticity signed by me. And check out my music, The God 720, on all streaming platforms. You dig what I'm saying? That's it.
There you have it, family. Keenan Booker, The God 720, Kicked Out of Heaven. Also, the Encyclopedia of the Alchemy of Women. So yeah, New York and Philly. I really wish we'd have dug in Philly chess a little bit more, not the family, but the situation, because there's more over there. Even my brother in Philly, he said, listen, we can do a whole thing on Philly alone. We could do so we just might do that. But with that said, family, let me know what you think. New York and Philly, Black Plague, I Am Legend 2. Is this about to be I Am Legend 2? I don't know. I'm not a prophet. I don't know, family. I'm in dark just like you are. We try to figure this out together. And we learn together. So with that said, I'm going to give my final couple of words and I'll let you guys go. Here. I'm going to read the names of the family that have taken the dollar challenge. I'm so glad I'm able to do that. When you guys support me, it means everything to me. It humbles me. It just really, just does something for me. Sometimes I just get a little rigid in my old age, but those are the things that make me crack a smile in my stone face. So yeah, for those who have taken the dollar challenge, it's just the money sign, Crumb TV on Cash App. It's only $1. If you want to do $1 million, I'm not gonna fight you or nothing like that. But I'm not out here like Pastor Pork Chop or Reverend Chicken Wing or whatever the case may be. I'm just your humble brother. So you put $1 in the pot, that means everything. Tressie, the best of Tress. Go check out the best of Tress. That's my girl. She's jumping like Jordan. She's Vogue. She's flavorful. She's stylish. And she supports Crumb TV. I see you, love you, appreciate you. John Smith. I really hope that's not his real name. I'm not trying to put people's information out on the internet if they want to privately support. So I wish I really wouldn't have said the last name. But it's so vague that John Smith could be anybody. So I see you, I love you, I appreciate you. Cunny Money. I'm not sure what that even means, but it rhymes, so I like it. Cunny Money. I see you, I love you, appreciate you. Demuzi. What a powerful name. Y'all better tap in. Ro D. Tazil Dangerous L. What a name. Family. Y'all better tap all the way in. Listen. Let me hurry up. Javier. I hope that's Javier. It's with a J, but I believe it's pronounced Javier. Javon. It's with a J, but I believe it's pronounced with a J. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Vanessa. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Jacqueline. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Jermaine. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. Brit X. Fresh in the building. I see you. I love you. I appreciate you. So, family, if you want to support with the dollar challenge, I'm humbled. I'm honored. I'm grateful for anything and everything. But listen, family, ain't nobody out here panhandling, begging, and trying to get rich. So, if you want to support this family, you can just hit the like button. It's free. That's my selling point. It's free, but there are other selling points. It's easy. It takes a second. It works with the algorithm. So many good things. And also, what works as well is comment. You let me know what you think. Are we headed towards a black plague? Is this the perfect storm? The animals, the fleas, the ticks, the rats, can't forget the rats, the roaches, so on and so forth. You let me know in the comments. Also, family, if you choose to, hit the subscribe button, family. I was talking to somebody like, I am subscribed, but they didn't hit the notifications. If you want the notifications, you got to hit the notifications too. I think you got to hit all or something like that. YouTube makes it so hard, but whatever. So if you want to do all of those things, it really means everything to me. I am humbled, honored, and grateful. So with that said, New York and Philly, Black Plague, I see y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I am your humble brother, Crumb. You are now watching Crumb TV. I will leave you the exact same way I came to you. In peace.
Brother Red Pill representing Know the Ledge, one half of the Twin Pillars. I am here rocking with Crumb TV.
You are watching Crumb TV.
You can find me on Crumb TV.
You can catch me on Crumb TV.
This is Chief Kalanago here at Crumb TV.
I am Joy Allen of the Memoirs of a Karmic Dynasty in the Crumb TV studio.
Honored to be on your program, brother.
Peace.
Peace.
Crumb TV.